to introduce Professor Janet Cade, that she leads the Nutritional Epidemiology Group at the University of Leeds, where I passed most of my happiest years. She obtained her PhD from the MRC Environmental Epidemiology. My happiest years. in Southampton. She obtained her PhD from the MRC Environmental Epidemiology. My happiest years. Sorry, I'm hearing Southampton. Her PhD from the MRC Environmental Epidemiology. My happiest years. Sorry, I was hearing myself in an echo. So
I think we all were. Yes, yes. Hopefully that will stop.
She obtained her PhD from the MRC Environmental Epidemiology Unit in Southampton under the guidance of David Barker. Her main areas of research are nutritional epidemiology and the relationship of diet to chronic disease development. She has run the UK Women's Cohort study for over 20 years. A particular focus has been development of new diet assessment methods, and she's the director of a University of Leeds spin-out Dietary Assessment, supported a validated online dietary assessment tool, Myfood24. She has also developed Nutritools, a resource for researchers to help select the best tool for measuring diet. She has served on the UK Committee on Toxicity of Chemicals in Food, Consumer Products, and the Environment. She has published over 500 papers, abstracts, and book chapters, and generated over £6 million in research income, the majority as principal investigator. She is the honorary secretary for the Association for Nutrition, the professional body for nutritionists, protecting the public and promoting high standards in evidence-based science and the professional practice of nutrition. What a CV, Professor Janet Cade. Thank you very much. What an honor.
Thank you. Well, no, thank you. I'm exhausted just listening to all that. Oh, no wonder my hair is white after. Yeah, just take time. I do take time to do other things as well, though. I enjoy, walking my dogs and playing my violin. So I'm not just a work machine. Anyway, let me try and share my screen with you. Thank you, Laura. It's lovely to see you again.
You're welcome.
And sorry, dog. Yeah, I've got a dog nudging my arm. Right, let me see. Hopefully, can you see that? Is that good?
Not yet.
You can't see it. Oh, okay. Let me try again then. No, that's not right though. In theory. Can you see that now? I'll put it on. Can you? No, you can't. Can you maybe let us switch the how's that?
Not yet.
No. Oh, gosh.
Laura.
Yes.
Creo que el permiso fue para mí.
Marta?
Porque a mí me permite. Entonces.
A ver, multi-participants. I will change quickly, multiple. If you want to try again.
Yeah,
Janet.
I will. I'll try again. Hang on. Oh, sorry, I've closed it now. Oh gosh, I've got to open it all up again. Sorry, everybody.
No, it's okay. It's all okay. We are on time. Spanish people, we are slightly delayed. So you are giving the opportunity to everyone to connect, grab the coffee, and be ready. No.
I still don't think you can see it though, can you?
No.
Because to me, I can see I've got like a blue try closing some applications to improve performance. Okay, I still don't think I'm managing to share with you, even though
Now it seems now something is appearing.
Oh, is it?
Now we can see, awesome. So now we can see the PowerPoint, but the PowerPoint software.
Yeah, got you. Okay.
That's perfect, yeah.
Now then, wait a minute. Do I need to swap display settings? Maybe this is
if you want, because in that now I can see, now it's perfect. Now it's perfect.
Is it?
Oh,
phew. Oh, well, that's good. Okay, so you can see, you can hear. I'm sorry, I don't know why that, but anyway, it's working. Good. All right. Well, I'm really pleased to be able to talk to you today about one of my favorite topics. It is, how do we collect high quality dietary data to support patients, to support research, and so on. So, and I really look forward to any questions that you might have as we go along. Please interrupt me, or we can have a chat at the end. So I'm going to give you just a brief background to dietary assessment. Then I will tell you about Myfood24 development, talk a little bit about how we've tried to validate the tool, and give you an example of its use in public health contexts, and then think a little bit about the future as well, and some conclusions. We all know, I'm sorry, this looks like a busy slide, but obesity, malnutrition are major problems for all of us, with medical consequences that are, even if it's just from a financial perspective, are taking resources from us nationally. And in the UK, 2/3 of adults are overweight or obese. The number of people with type 2 diabetes is on the increase. Childhood obesity is also increasing. There are many hospital admissions where obesity is a factor. So whilst it isn't just weight, this is all about people not necessarily eating the right products. And you may have picked up, there's a big debate anyway going on at the moment in the UK about ultra processed food. To me, it is about energy, fat, sugar, fiber, micronutrients. It's all of those things together. It's not just one type of food that's a problem here. And malnutrition costs in the UK £19 billion a year. Poor diet is now the greatest burden on the NHS budget. It's overtaken smoking as a major problem. So just to kind of put it into context. Dietary assessment, of course, which is related to understanding how this has all happened. We have major challenges, and really, we've only just started with being able to apply newer technologies. It's still very much pencil and paper in many places, or questionnaires, tick boxes, and so on. And although you can see on the right here, there are a large number of consumer-facing apps, and you might have used some of these, MyFitnessPal, Weight Watchers, and so on. None of these are really fit for purpose in terms of research because of their underlying database being limited, or, it might be huge, but there are missing nutrients, or are not helpful for clinical contexts either, because your healthcare professional can't see the outputs, etc. So just a quick whiz through, because I am not quite sure who my audience is here. So just have a sip of coffee if this is just far too basic for you. What do we need to know? We need to know what was eaten. And on the right there, there's a picture of Cabello Nero and a pointed spring cabbage. And whilst overall, macronutrient content is going to be somewhat similar, micronutrients, iron, minerals, etc., could be quite different. So it is important to differentiate, I think, how much was eaten, and the cheeseburger there, these portion sizes have been increasing, so we can't rely on data databases, publications that may have been made, 20, 30, 40 years ago, because things have changed. So we need to keep up to date. And then thinking about frequency, how often and when was a food eaten. Here's just a bit of a quick run through of some dietary assessment methods. We usually think about these as either prospective, where you kind of collect information as you're going along, a weighed food diary being the most common of those, but really burdensome for people taking part in research. So the most popular, I would say, would be retrospective methods, such as a 24-hour recall. So you're asked to think back over the last 24 hours and fill in what you ate, or a food frequency questionnaire. On the right are a couple of screenshots of helpful websites, at least I hope they're helpful. There's the Nutritools, which Laura kindly mentioned in her introduction, that we have developed, which allows you to go through a sort of flow chart saying, what's your research, what do you want to do? And then it gives you some suggestions of validated tools that you might be able to use to collect the information. And below that, the girl eating the apple is from the DAPA toolkit, which has good quality reviews of dietary assessment methods, physical activity assessment, and anthropometry. And then below that is a screenshot from the Global Dietary Database, which has sort of brought together a range of international studies which have used different methods. Often, though, it's the one on the right, that household availability, where it's household budget surveys or demographic and health surveys in the middle. There's very little with really good quality biomarkers, for example. So there's a lot of information, but how good is the quality of it? And just to pick up a little bit on food frequency questionnaires, because maybe not everyone's familiar with them. Usually, always a limited list of foods. I mean, it could be a very short list of foods, 10, 20. It could be a longer list, but rarely over 200, because people can't spend all their days ticking boxes. How often do you eat, different types of food? And they rely on self-report over a particular time period, and that requires you to do some maths. So that if you think in the UK, while strawberries are not really available all year round, you could get them in the winter, but not really. They're only available in the summer. But if you eat them weekly when they're available, how do you say over a year, how often do you eat them? So you've got to try and do some complicated sort of maths in there, which not everyone is able to do. And they can't really give valid, reliable estimates of actual intakes, though they can potentially rank individuals. And in the UK women's cohort study, we used a food frequency questionnaire because that was all that was available really to us at the time. It was as good as we could do, but can we do better? Prone to misreporting, portion sizes challenging, etc. And really, as I've said, we've used it, and the vast majority of large-scale epidemiological studies have used food frequency questionnaires. An example there on the right of what it might look like. Are they valid? Are they reliable? Often people have attempted to undertake sort of assessment of validity with correlation coefficients, but that isn't really helpful at understanding true validity, because it only measures strength of association between the FFQ and a reference method. Bland-Altman limits of agreement would be better to try and assess absolute agreement. And in the blue box at the bottom, I've just put in a quote from almost 20 years ago, Cancer Epidemiology, Biomarkers and Prevention, Crystal and Potter said, "It is clear to us that it is already 20 years ago, well past the time to abandon the FFQ for future studies of diet and cancer risk, and to implement dietary assessment methods that capture data on foods actually consumed." I put that part in italics, but I think and I'm sure I haven't totally convinced you that you should move away from food frequency questionnaires, but at least consider it. More recent evidence looking at nutrient data from apps shows that a lot of them are actually rather unreliable. And here we took 20 of the most popular apps and compared it to a 3-day diary, which was completed by a nutritionist. And this shows differences in energy intake. Overall, the mean differences were quite small, but if, for example, you had used something like Calorie Counter by Fat Secret, a really popular one, or Point Tracker by Weight Watchers, you could be really out in your estimate of energy intake here. So they're not all the same, and underlying databases really make a big difference. So we do need to improve. Why? Well, because we struggle to adequately answer research questions to evaluate interventions, or indeed even to provide personalized advice. We need to start trying to reduce measurement error and improve accuracy of our usual dietary intake assessment so that we can, if this is what we're interested in, strengthen associations between diet and disease. Looking then a little bit closer to home for me, Myfood24 has been a tool that was developed by Medical Research Council funding to try and create a tool that would help us to track food and nutrient intake, supporting research into diet-related health conditions such as diabetes, cancer, and heart disease. And we formed a company to support the tool, because again, if you've done some research where you've created something and then it just goes on a shelf, if you like, no one uses it, you've got to keep it up to date. Tech is constantly changing, and the Medical Research Council, who are research funders, don't want to fund ad infinitum your new changes and adaptations and so on. So it was really the only way we could ensure that we could make best use of their investment was by forming a company to commercialize Myfood24. We've got a very small team and we outsource our software development now. What did we do to develop the tool? Well, we started obviously, as you would, with sort of looking at literature, asking experts, etc. We undertook some focus groups with different age group participants who gave us feedback, what they would like to see, developed a beta version, then usability studies were undertaken, and we launched the tool with ongoing. So that isn't the end of it. Almost every day we look at how can we improve things, what can we do differently. What is it? Well, it's an e-health tool which enables rapid, accurate diet tracking and assessment, and includes an underlying for the UK food and drink database of over 100,000 items, many branded items. Users can record daily food intake quickly. The average is sort of 10 minutes, but once you get used to it, you can do this in 5-7 minutes. So quick. You know, a food frequency questionnaire with 200 items on it might take you 40 minutes. And obviously the traditional paper-based approach really, it sets you back a lot of time with coding, etc. You get instant feedback. And from our healthcare app, also that feedback goes to healthcare professionals. We've undertaken work to validate the tool with biomarkers and a small-scale randomized controlled trial. We also have some artificial intelligence in there called diet optimization, which provides suggestions for personalization. I'll mention that a little bit more in another slide. So Our research web app, our research tool, is the first one that we've worked with, and we now have versions available in a range of different languages. I mean, we've coloured in part of the world in red here to show where we've got different versions. We haven't coloured in Spain yet, but we are going. Oh, have we? No, we haven't. That's France. But we're going to, and Milka is on the case. She's here. We'll be working. And any of you are interested in working with us to develop the Spanish version, that would be fantastic. So please do get in touch afterwards. But for information, we have versions in Arabic, Danish, English, obviously, French, German, Norwegian, and we do have a Spanish language version, which is currently being used in Peru by colleagues. We've also recently added some new sustainability metrics to the UK food composition data and also French. It's interesting even just looking at that, because I think France has, maybe it's at 20 different metrics. I mean, there are a lot of different metrics. And if you think that food composition data is unreliable, you should really take a look at some of these sustainability metrics. In the UK version, we have greenhouse gas emissions, land and water use output, and we've benchmarked the results against the National Diet and Nutrition Survey, so that it kind of gives you the red if it's high, the orange if it's medium, and the green if it's low. Coming back to our validation study, we were able to collect biomarker data from just over 200 participants who used our original research version, and these participants provided blood and urine, and we got a measure of energy expenditure as well, and they did that on 3 different occasions. The take-home message result was that Myfood24 gave similar results to the more expensive alternative interviewer-based recall. And looking at the median energy intake, it was very similar to our national diet survey. So we felt comfortable that the results were about right. However, both Myfood24 and the multiple pass interviewer recall gave results which were attenuated compared to biomarkers. But of course, biomarkers aren't measuring actual intakes, they're just measuring what's available in the body and doing that in different ways. So perhaps we wouldn't expect a perfect agreement anyway. Our German colleagues have also undertaken some validation of their database. We always work with local academics to develop the international versions that we have. And of course, it gives an opportunity for early career researchers to undertake evaluations. And so there's 11,500 foods in their German database, and they undertook some user evaluation showing that it had some good system usability, and they also assessed 3 sample meals to see how well people could evaluate that using the tool. So overall, I think they were quite happy with it. Just to come a bit closer to where we are now, since we had developed our research version, we also have a teaching version where you could use it in a classroom setting, which I do and others do. And we've also developed a healthcare app. I could see the potential for the tool to really support patients clinically understanding what they're eating. So we've developed 2 apps, iPhone and Android, and we have a healthcare professional portal. I think given my concerns with, I've got in theory, I've got a little link. Shall I risk it to a YouTube video here?
Yeah, let's.
All right, I'll risk it, but I don't want to lose this. So I'll click on it. If you can't see it or what have you, let me know, because who knows if it will work. Maybe it will. But you might not be able to hear it. That's my only problem with some of this. Is it coming up? It might be.
I'm still seeing the same screen of the presentation.
Oh, are you? Oh, hang on then. Wait a minute. Stop that. Shall I try? I'll stop sharing my slides. If you've got patience with me to stop sharing my slides.
Of course.
Have you?
Yeah.
All right then. Sorry. I'll try.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll try. Now then.
Oh, now it's coming. We can
Is
see
it?
the yeah.
All right then. Let's have a go. Tell me if you can't hear it though. Can you hear it?
No.
No. All right. Wait a minute. Let me see how I do that. I'm sure there's a way of settings. Oh, anybody know? If anybody knows how I share the sound on this, I would be grateful.
I don't know if our guy Eric could give a hand.
Let me see.
I think should be share with sound. Share your
sound. Yes, there is something that says share sound. Let's try that. Thank you, Mil.
Now we can see. What a great idea. Yeah.
Can you hear it well?
Myfood24 is a quick and easy to use food diary platform developed by a team of nutrition experts using robust and evidence-based methodologies. It connects a food diary patient app with a secure web portal for healthcare professionals. Myfood24 instantly analyses patients' diets, automating the dietary assessment process to save time, supporting both face-to-face and remote dietary monitoring. Users self-complete their food diary using the Myfood24 app, available on iOS and Android. Users search for the food item they're looking for from the comprehensive food database and select their item from the list. Next, they select their portion size, and then they can see the nutritional information for that portion size. Where foods are typically consumed with something else, like cereal and milk, Myfood24 offers a pop-up to speed up diary completion. Users select their item and portion, and then it's added to their diary. Recipes can also be created and saved by each user and quickly added to the diaries. Throughout the day, as items are added to the diary, the bars along the top show the user their progress towards their nutrient targets, as well as tracking their fibre a day and fluid intake. After diaries have been completed, users can see their analysis to help improve their nutritional knowledge and identify where improvements can be made. Users can see how their intake for the day compares to their targets, swiping to view more nutrients. Next is the top contributors, where users can see the top 5 foods that have contributed the most to their intake of different nutrients. Users can also see how their nutrient intake varies between their meals. Healthcare professionals can also see this information in their web portal to support discussions with patients.
Okay, so that was a quick run through of our healthcare app. Now let me see if I can now try and go back to my slides. I'm sorry. Is that good? No, I don't think it is it? It's not doing it. Oh, it's so weird. Wait a minute. Let's see.
No. So the only thing, like, we can see now the two the next slide.
Oh, is that no, that I see what you mean. Yes, maybe I can switch between, oh golly. Where's the thing? Sorry. Oh, I want to switch presenter view, etc. Hide presenter view. That's not what I wanted to do. Nah. Oh, I'm so sorry, everybody.
It's okay. It's all okay. I'm laughing because I'm seeing my emails like we are connected.
Yeah, it's hopeless, isn't it? Honestly, we have been so used to doing these presentations for so long, but actually, to be honest, we usually use is that any better? Can you see that now, Mike?
Now I can see the PowerPoint.
Yeah,
with the different slides and
let me see a resume slideshow. Does that, you can't, can you see where I've got to, how my Myfood24 app works or not? No,
I can see on the left all the slides and on the right one slide at the beginning.
Yeah, okay, well let me see if I can, I'll just go back to
this is our fault because we should have
no, it's my fault. I should have
next time you have to come in person.
Yeah, I do, that's right. Let me see if I can swap. Oh no, because the Zoom is hiding my switch, but I can't do it. Oh, here we are, I might be able to do it. My mouse isn't even working now. Oh. Right, let me just stop sharing again. Sorry, I'll try and
it's all okay, it's all fine.
Because I do want to talk to you about the other work we've been doing as well. So I will just come back to trying to screen share. Right.
Okay, so now if you minimize now it's perfect.
Yeah, okay, got it. Yeah, sorry everybody. Right, here we are. I've got too many screens, too many things open, but I'm hoping you're feeling sympathetic. Anyway, okay, great. So really you've seen how the system works, so I don't need to go through that. And here are some of the outputs as well, which you did see on that a little YouTube video. I'll just come back quickly to the diet optimization, which takes the nutrient intake from diaries which have been completed and matches against nutritional targets, and through algorithms loops through cycles to identify a potentially optimum diet, moving you closer towards your targets. So it suggests changing food quantities or removing or adding similar foods. And on the right there, you can see how by making those changes, how much closer to your targets for fat or calories you would be. The problem that we have actually in the UK is that our calorie, it's not really a target, but optimum for adults, 2,000 calories, for women, 2,500 calories for men. People on the whole are not reaching those levels, and so we've had to put quite wide boundaries on. And I asked the academics who'd been involved with creating these levels of intake as our reference ones, where this had come from, because I think it comes from doubly labeled water techniques, and they really told me that they made these levels up so that actually, in fact, some of the assumptions underlying the doubly labeled water method might need looking at again. But when it comes to public health recommendations, you can see, you know, calorie intake, we don't really want people to be mostly increasing their calorie intake. So it's a bit of a challenge, and it isn't about underreporting. It is about those intake reference intakes being too high. Anyway, our optimization engine never suggests reducing fruit or vegetables or adding or increasing alcohol. Our small randomized control trial of the healthcare apps, we looked at some tier 3 weight management patients and gastroenterology surgery patients who received either usual care, the Myfood24 healthcare app, or the healthcare app plus the diet optimization engine. And we did get small numbers. This was done during COVID. Nobody was coming into clinic. So as you can imagine, it was quite challenging to undertake that project. But we got some positive feedback, I suppose. People did say their symptoms improved after using Myfood24 and did say they would use feedback for advice at the next appointment, thought it could help them manage their condition in future, and so on. The people who were using the diet optimization suggestions did actually use it quite well. And the feedback from healthcare professionals was positive. They said the website was beneficial, it was faster and easier than paper diaries, and was generally a good reflection of what was eaten. And on the right in that box, Sarah, the senior dietitian with the tier 3 weight management patient, said, I found Myfood24 a really useful tool supporting my patients. The capability to review food diaries remotely ahead of a consultation helps to have a more tailored discussion about particular trends and identify any gaps in the diet. And then just sort of the last part, if you like, is Laura asked me about the work that we've done in a more public health context. And here we were trying to help policymakers to track diet. It was a very quick study. We reached a huge number of people and got quite a large response rate. So it was sort of proof of concept. And because of the way the funding worked, we really had 3 months to do it all. But unfortunately, that meant our ethics, we could, you can imagine how long ethics takes. To even start it for 3 months, you wouldn't get it by the end of it. So I managed to get some quick approval, but it did mean we couldn't collect any personally identifiable data. And therefore, it meant that it was not possible to link the sort of first phase, which was a questionnaire asking about food intake and food security, with the second part, which was Myfood24. So that was a challenge. But given this was a sort of a starter, and we have now thought about, how can we link up? Because prior to GDPR, we were able to pass links between online surveys and Myfood24. But after GDPR, we've not been allowed to do that. So we did think we would ask people for a memorable word in both surveys so that we could match them up, but people didn't do that very well. So we weren't able to do much matching. But overall, I think it's interesting because we recruited people through paying for Facebook post boosts. So we set up a Facebook page. It's like a business page. You don't have to pay for that, but you do have to pay for boosts. And then we posted invitations to join the study with a link to the questionnaire. We were focusing on surveying adults living in the Yorkshire and Humber region. And I'm not quite sure of the sort of psychological background to this, but the first invitation had a picture of a tree on it, a local tree, and we boosted that for 11 days and it cost us just over £600. But then we wanted to get more men involved because, as per usual, women were the ones mostly taking part in the survey. So we put a different boost out with a picture of a roast dinner. I mean, maybe that wasn't going to encourage more men, but that's what we thought. And then the third picture boost, we wanted to get some slightly younger people. So we put a picture of a salad on the boost. But our total spend was just over £1,000 on that. And you can see sort of recruitment numbers. We got over 1,000 questionnaires completed. We offered people a prize draw, and actually the short ethics that we did asked us to do it in a particular way, prize draw. And then not everyone completed the diet survey. I mean, it's always a way, I think, with these. You start with a questionnaire and then people get bored by the end of that. They've gone in for the prize draw and then they don't finish it off. But anyway, and you can see how it's sort of built up over the couple of weeks that we were using this. The budget, the cost per submitted questionnaire was under £1, which actually, when you think about, sadly, I know all of you and me will be researchers and we want jobs and we need to be able to, you know, justify that. But actually, you can collect hopefully quite good quality data for a fraction of what it would cost for a person to do it using these online systems. And overall, it was just less than 3 weeks that we managed to get the survey out and get all of this information back. We were looking for a region-wide response and we got that, but the vast majority of responders were women, sort of middle-aged women. You can see down the left there the sort of type of people that we were getting. And we really, the memorable word thing just didn't work. So we thought of a solution for that, but we didn't have time during that project to look at the results from the 600 people who completed the Myfood24 compared to national diet survey data and also our reference intakes, all from the Eat Well guide. Intakes were a little lower, but this was just a, you know, a completely, if you like, haphazard selection of people who were completing the diary. And yeah, I didn't think they were, you know, totally unrealistic. Maybe we could have thought a bit more about, you know, cutting off people who were obviously only put in a couple of items, that sort of thing. But on the whole, not too bad. And the sustainability metrics that we generated as well showed for the diets that have been recorded, medium greenhouse gas, high land use, and medium water use. So conclusions there really were that it was a Facebook boost was useful, quick, inexpensive way to recruit, probably a better sample than if you'd sort of gone door to door or something. You know, there was everyone, as it were, potentially available to take part. We got a lot of feedback and helpful feedback that we might not have got otherwise through the Facebook response. The prize draw seemed to work, the links seemed to work. Record linkage was feasible, and now we've thought of ways of doing that better. We also found, and I haven't presented these results to you, that food insecurity from the questionnaire was evident, and the diet measures seem to be plausible. So my last slide, and sorry for all the toing and froing, but I think hopefully we've just about got there. I think there are exciting future opportunities. It is now possible to undertake much larger scale studies with more detail. If we can persuade our funders, and maybe we need to start being a bit more critical in the nicest possible way of what's happened in the past, because what happened in the past was as good as could be done at the time. But I think we have opportunities now with our, you know, internet reach to do so much more and so much potentially better than we could do before. The Facebook boost was quick, cheap online recruitment, and the food composition table that we had was specific to the population under study, so you can really make it right for your population. By doing that, we could improve the evidence base for epidemiological research. Do get in touch if you'd like to help Milka and I to build up the Spanish food composition table. Yes, thank you, Laura. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the presentation, and for sure I'm going to get in touch So myself as a nutritionist, I always find a little bit tedious, when to do all the recollection of the data, and also for the patients. Whereas if it, I love the pictures, I can show them that, but is this big? Is this big? So for them, it's also more enjoyable, and they record more things.
They do. They really like the pictures. I absolutely agree. In fact, we're thinking, well, hopefully, I think that computer vision opportunities are much better now than they used to be, so that maybe we can build in a way of taking a picture of your food, so that all this typing in of words of the food, we can maybe overcome that as well. We haven't done that yet, but we're definitely thinking about it.
Anyway, and I think for the researchers at YATA, we have a lot of nutritionists that are interested not only in the food, but in the relation with the microbiota. And I think most of them are now connected. So I'm sure that many of you, maybe not now, but later, will write you or contact you for sure. I don't know if someone else have a question. I'm going to check also.
If anyone wants to ask a question, here I am ready. Oh, this, I don't know. Maybe. He's just posting. And I really like, that's why I ask you for the study of using social media to collect data information for public health. I think that's the way forward.
Sure. Yeah, it was so much information. So if you have to complete that, Janet, if you feel that you want to complete it, what would be your next step?
Yeah, well, we are going to build in, I can't remember now exactly because it was like a year ago, so, but ways where we can link automatically between, because Myfood24 isn't an online questionnaire tool, it is about measuring diet, but you do need to be able to link, who said what with what they reported in terms of their diet. So we've got an opportunity to make that work now, and I really think that whilst people would say and we could see, it was mostly women, it was mostly middle-aged people completing it. So there are other, perhaps TikTok, I don't know, Instagram and so on, other opportunities for social collect different parts of our population's data. But I think it's the way forward. I really wouldn't. It seems to me to be the simplest, cheapest, quickest to get a pretty broad spectrum of society. Milk has asked, it has been considered using any classification for ultra processed foods in the app? Well, Milka, I can talk to you about that after, but I'm personally not a fan of the NOVA classification, or indeed calling anything ultra processed, because it's not the processing to me that's the issue. But I think if maybe we can compromise somehow, and it's to do with high fat, high salt, not necessarily salt on, but sugar, high fat and high sugar, high energy dense products that are leading to increased risk of long-term health outcomes. Perhaps because these are processed foods, often that's why they've got that bad name. So it is about trying to support reformulation. But anyway, I haven't really answered your question. At the moment, I'm not keen on adding the NOVA classification to our foods, but I suppose we could, or maybe we could add something else, because also we had Kieran Ford from Wageningen talk to our group recently, and I think it is interesting that it's more also about how soft the food is. So if it's easy to chew and swallow, you're going to eat more of it. And that obviously mostly is a processing related thing, but not exclusively. So is that something to do with it? So yeah, sorry, I'm rambling. Maybe somebody's got a better different.
We are having a trend here in Spain with the ultra processing and what is real food, and everyone has a lot of to say. So Marta Olivares is a doctor.
Yes.
She
Hello,
can-
Martha.
Hi, I'm one of those researchers working in gut microbiota. And many times we complain that we have many tools to analyze the complexity of my gut microbes, but we don't have such a good tools to analyze the diet. And then it's a important connection. And my question is about dietary fiber. I don't know if your app is able to split different type of fibers.
Do you mean like fruit, vegetable, cereal fiber, or specific types of?
Yes, specific, like imagine pectin or
Yes, pectin.
inulin.
Yeah. I don't think we have pectin and inulin, but that's not to say it couldn't be done. And actually, every country's food composition database is slightly different and has different nutritional elements, if you like. So Marta, if you're interested and you could help Milka add some of that information into the database, we'd be happy to do that.
Okay, no, we don't have that information, but
yeah,
but we need that.
If we don't have it, we can't add it. But if you had it, or you were able to estimate it, and there might be a potential for estimating it, you could, if you were happy enough with the estimates that you've made, you could add it in.
No, we don't have that information, but we would like to.
Yeah.
to have
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think here there is also a potential, maybe within Yata, no? Because there is some people in other departments that are estimating that.
Yes.
So maybe we have to have an internal talk.
Yeah. Yes, come together. Anybody else? So are you, Laura, what do you do in IATA? I'm sorry, I should probably know.
No, that's okay. That's all fine. I'm always happy to talk about myself. So I'm currently a trainee researcher, and my research is mainly focused on people with swallowing disorders.
Oh, yes.
So I try to improve the physical properties, considering the viscosity of the food that is addressed to people with dysphagia. So for one side, I have the thickeners drinks that I don't know if you have the opportunity to try, but they are not the most pleasant thing. So as a sensory analyst, I try to increase the appealing, the drinkability, and the most important for me is to remove the thirstiness sensation that is impossible to quench with thickener drinks. And from the other side, I work with hospitals, improving the diets for people with dysphagia. So basically, trying to create new structures that are safe for those with dysphagia that are in this moment mainly elderly. And also, I work in the sensory and consumer science department. We have a lot of consumer and sensory studies with companies for research. The different strains of plant proteins we are developing. I think people here, they have tried recently some muffins, all sorts of foods.
Yeah. I mean, you've probably seen some of the work coming out of the Zoe project, but I'm again a little bit cautious about that, which is about sort of theoretically personalizing information based on a huge number of people who've been wearing continuous glucose monitors. And then you mentioned a muffin. I think they send, if you pay them money, they send you a muffin and a continuous glucose monitor, and you then see whether or not your response is higher or lower than the average, which is sort of interesting, but we don't know what that implication is long term, really. So that's good. We also actually, Laura, have a PhD student collaboratively with Anne Wesher, who's from Thailand, and she's exploring how oral processing ability is linked to nutrient intake. So that in elderly Thai individuals, but there seems to be limited data on, you know, how does your ability to chew, potentially swallow, I mean, it will affect your nutritional intake. So she's exploring that as well.
Yeah, very interesting. Well, time ago, I think over a year ago, I think I met this.
Oh, did you? Fun. Yeah, yeah.
Online. We have a discussion. We were talking about the measurements of the masticatory force, but we were discussing it's not only the force, but the ability that you have.
Yes, that's right. It's a very complicated thing to assess, actually. So, yes, it's an interesting, different area for me. Oh, there's Paul. She is. Oh, she's put a screen on.
Oh, she's there. Hello. How is it going? I think it has been a year, no, since we talked.
Yeah.
When we actually and it was quite during the biting force, but yeah, it got through, and hopefully it will translate into something.
I can
hear you very well.
barely hear you.
Get a bit closer to, yeah.
Is it better?
Yeah.
Okay. So I actually like finished collecting the data, and hopefully that it will translate into something like meaningful, and in addition to what you have already done. Yeah, and the biting force was quite difficult, but yeah, it was like, finally got it over.
I'm happy to see that you have been evolving over this time. I'm really eager to see the paper when you have it.
Hopefully I will get some like very interesting data out of it. But
of course
the dietary information is it's a lot, because I was able to gain like 170 something people. So I'm still working on that, but hopefully.
That's a lot of people. Congratulations for the big effort.
She's done well. It was a big effort. Yeah.
That's great to hear. Okay, maybe if someone else wants to add anything else. If not, thank you once again, Janet. It was a pleasure to hear you, to see you. Hopefully we can see each other in person soon.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. And apologies for the few technical. We were okay. I just thought, don't panic. You know, if it just, you know, we got there, didn't we? I think, hopefully.
Yeah, it's not a problem. And as I said, I think a lot of people was connected. We have had quite an audience here and on YouTube.
Thank you. Good, thanks. Hello, Diego. Wow, great.
Janet, hi there, and hello to everybody. I'm sorry I was late.
No, well, I would have been late. I think I told you the wrong time because
but besides of that, I was late. So, but I just wanted to say you hello and thanks to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so and if you want, we could speak further in another situation
later. Yes, we will. Yeah, no, that's great and nice. Yeah, good. Thanks, Laura. Thanks for organizing.
Thank you. Thanks to you. We will be in contact. Thank you for everything.
Super. Good. All right. Lovely. Look forward to speaking to you again. Thanks.
Okay,
bye, everybody. Bye.